Namaste everybody, I am Vijay Kumar. Today I am going to share one of the poem of class 12th, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender. The poem written by Stephen Spender, An Elementary Classroom in a Slum, describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in the society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of an elementary school which is situated in a slum area. The poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. Form of the poem. Which type of poem is this one? The poem is written in a simple style with the use of poetic device and images which conveys the narrator's feelings of sympathy and anger. The images convey the poverty, hunger, neglect of state, schools in the slums. Rhyme scheme of the poem. The poem has been written in free verse. It does not have any rhyme scheme. Now, theme of the poem. The poem touches upon themes of social injustice and class inequalities. It questions the value of education in a slum. It expresses the widespread neglect of the children who are uncared for, like rootless weeds. It gives the readers a descriptions of malnourished children with pale faces, stunted growth and twisted bones. But the poem does not dwell upon pessimism. It highlights the role of the educators and the more privileged class in a society to liberate the children and infuse them with human creativity. Now we will discuss about the background of the poem. So far as concerned the background of the poem, written in 1964, the poem is an example of Spender's political voice resonating in a poem. He expresses his ideological position on government, economics and education. The students in this classroom are underprivileged and malnourished. The capitalistic government is supposed to supply equal opportunity for education, but the classroom in the slum offers little hope for change to progress. Spender names no nation or race. It appears to be a response to the global question concerning social injustice, which was an essential issue in the American civil rights movement of the time. Throughout the poem, the poet's tone changes from pensive to the belligerent and finally from frustration to an appeal. About the poet Stephen Spender. Spender 1909 to 1995 was a poet and English essayist. Spender had taken interest in politics and so he declared himself as a socialist and pacifist. His work concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle. Now we are going to see the first stanza of the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds. Far, far from gusty waves, the children's faces like rootless weeds. The hair torn around their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. His lesson from his desk at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of a squirrel's game in the tree room other than this. Some of the words meaning of this stanza are here. Gusty waves means breezy winds. Pallor means pale and dull face. Stunted means not fully grown due to malnutrition. Gnarled means knotted rough. Weeds means unwanted plant that grow on their own. Paper seeming boy means very thin boy, as thin as a sheet of paper. Here the poet describes the children who study in an elementary school which is set up in slum area. The poet says that the faces of children are dull and without any energy. They are not full of energy like other kids of their age. These children are compared to unwanted weed. Here the writer wants to say that these children seem to be unwanted like the unwanted weeds which grow on their own in the fields. Their hair is not neatly done. Their hair is not neatly done. It falls on their pale faces as if they have been torn apart. The children are untidy. They haven't combed their hair. Then he describes a tall girl who seems to be burdened by poverty. Her head is bent. What is the reason? Maybe because of tiredness or shame. The poet here suppose, expect, imagine. There is another boy who is so weak and thin that he has been compared to a sheet of paper. A sheet of paper. A sheet of paper. This much he is weak and thin. The boy's eyes reflect greed and he wants to achieve everything. Then he describes another student who is physically disabled. The poet says that this boy is unlucky because he inherited a disease from his father, due to which he has deformed body. Instead of getting any facility from his father, he has received a disease in a heritage. This disabled boy is sitting on his bench and reciting his lesson. At the back of the class, in dim dark area, was a small boy who was not visible to the poet as he was sitting in a darkness. The poet could see his eyes, which were bright and full of dream. He was not paying attention to the class. It seemed as if he was rather interested in playing with squirrels in the trees. Some of the literary devices have been applied in this stanza, first stanza. Simile, children are compared with rootless weed, like rootless weed. Metaphor, boy is compared with paper as he is in theme. And repetition used far to stress on the distance. Now next we are coming to the second stanza. On sour cream walls, donation Shakespeare's head. Cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities, belled flowery tireless valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its award, awarding the world its well, and yet for these children, these windows, not this map their well, where all their future is painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in a lead sky, far, far from rivers, caves and stars of words. Some of the words meaning of this stanza. Sour means unpleasant here, refers to the color of sour cream of white or creamish. And donations, things given or received in charity, we know everybody. Dawn means early in the morning. Sunrise, civilized dawn. Here it means rising sun at the horizon, which is the shape of a dome, semicircle. Tireless valley, a beautiful ice-free valley in Austria, sealed shut or locked dead. Here dark future of kids. Sealed means completely sealed. We seal the room. We seal the go down. Keeps a large piece of land that sticks out into the sea from the coast. Now, the explanations of this stanza is here. The poet describes the walls of the school. They are cream in color, like the color of sour cream. This means the walls are not clean, they have been painted recently. The walls are covered with different charts and images that must have been donated by different people. There is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. His head is bald, looks like the rising sun at the horizon. At the time of daybreak, the sun is rising at the horizon in a semicircular like a dome shape. It seems to be behind the cities. There is a picture of the famous Tyrlos Valley which has beautiful flowers. There is the image of a map which helps all in its own way, but for these children the map of the world is irrelevant because the slum where they live is different from what is shown in the map. Their world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom. The slum, their future is full of darkness. Their future is compared to a narrow street, which means that there is no wide scope of level for their future growth. These children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education. Some of the literary devices have been applied here that we are going to see here. Metaphor: walls are described to the dull as our sour cream walls. Second, the future of the kids is described as limited. Assonance, repetition of the vowel E, belled, flowery, tireless, valley, allusion. Reference to well-known person or a place. Head, tireless, village. Repetition for repeated. Now third stanza we are going to see. Surely Shakespeare is a wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and the sun and love tempting them to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night, on their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slums. So blot their maps with slums as big as stone. Here wicked means evil, tempted means persuade, slyly means strictly, cramped means confined, slag means weak, mended means repaired, blot means to mark with a spot, and doom means disasters. The meaning of this stanza is, the poet further says that these children living in the slum area have faced so many hardships that they feel every other person to their enemy. For them, Shakespeare is an evil man. They don't find the map to be a good thing. They were never liked or loved by anyone. They are missing the meaning of the love. Therefore, they hate almost everyone. The desire of being loved by others forces them to steal. They live in small homes and they have started adjusting to it. Their life is going towards an endless night where there is no sun, only darkness and darkness. This means that their future is full of darkness. These kids are so thin that one can easily see their bones through their layer of the skin. Their skin is like the thin layer of cloth, and bones beneath are visible through the skin. These kids suffer from malnutrition. They wear spectacles which are made of steel. They are cheap and very uncomfortable. Even the lenses in the spectacles are repaired. The spectacles look like stones which have been repaired with pieces of glass sticking out of them. Here the poet tries to explain that these kids have to face so many hardships in their lives. As the slums are getting bigger, they will destroy the future of the children, and it is very difficult for such kids to escape from them. Now we are going to have the fourth stanza, and this is the last stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and this window that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break, oh break open till they break the town, and sow the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history there whose language is sun. Some of the words meaning here: catacombs means storm, cemetery made up of, and azure means deep blue. Now we are going to describe the meaning of this poem here. The poet says that the government should take notice of the problem being faced by these kids. He urges them to change the life of these kids and make the world map a reality for them. There is a need to break the restrictions which are put on them due to the poverty and lack of resources. He wants the governor and public to help these kids in achieving their dreams, as this will take them away from fog to azure sky. The poet here wants to say that in this way the kids can be taken away from the darkness of their present to a bright future. He wants these kids to experience the sense and beauty of nature, as this will lead to desire of gaining knowledge. They will then go through the white and green leaves. Here white leaves depict books and green leaves depict nature. Means white leaves refers to books and green leaves depict means refers to nature. This will then result in their progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. Some of the literary devices of this stanzas are here. Metaphor: books and nature are expressed in form of white and green leaves. The white green leaves open. And for a use of repeated words in two consecutive lines: run azure and run naked. So this is all about the poem. Now we are going to have the summary of the poem, and thereafter the message. We'll see the message of the poem, that what is the message of the poem. Summary: the poem written by Stephen Spender gives a vivid description of a school classroom in a slum and the children in the class. The faces of children are dull. Their appearances shows that they are unwanted. The children have gloomy faces, their heads hanging low in sadness due to being poor. They have diseased bodies inherited from their parents and are victim of poverty. At the dim end of the room sits one child who has bright eyes, which seems to dream of playing outside with squirrels. He is different from the others in the dim dark room. The walls of classrooms are dirty. People have donated different charts and images which have been put up on them. One of them is a picture of the great playwright Shakespeare. His head is bald and resembles the rising sun. The next poster is of the Tireless Valley, full of churches and flowers, which symbolizes the beautiful creations of nature. Another one is map of the world to the children. The world is not the one shown in the picture, but it is the one they see out of the classroom window. They are trapped in the slums. Their future is dim and hopeless. They have a dark future, as their options in life are limited and are covered with dismay. They are far away from the bright light of knowledge. Comprehending these pictures is beyond their abilities. They hate everyone, and for them Shakespeare is a wicked man, and no one loves them. They dislike everyone. The desire for love and acceptance forces them to do crimes like stealing. The children are so skinny that their clothes are like a skin, and their skeleton is visible through them. This is due to lack of nutrition. They have worn looking glasses made of stills, which are cheap, heavy and comfortable. Their chances of fulfilling their dreams and moving out have been further reduced by building bigger slums. until they come out of the slums. They will never know what the world looks like. The government system which makes this slum is the cause of the people to live in them. The education system is such that it forces them to live in this slum. They are not given the right to dream. Beyond the slums, they have been restricted to the slums. The poet requests the authorities to allow the children to go out of the slums so that the maps on the walls of the classroom become a reality for them. They should be taken to the green fields rather than the dim slums. The sunny, warm sand of the beaches and the bright blue sky will instill a hunger for knowledge in their minds. Then they will absorb all of it. Then these children will become economically empowered. The poem ends with a powerful line: those who make history are the ones who shine like the sun. Now the central idea or the message of the poem is here. The poem appeals to the rulers, the law enforcing bodies, and the philanthropists represented by the governor, inspector, visitor to improve the conditions of the children in the slums, which can be done through education. The poem ends on an optimistic note with the message that there are solutions to this problem and a lot of these children can be improved. The poem raises concerns like sensitivity toward the underprivileged, equity, equality, awareness, philanthropy, optimism, determination, and the need to change the condition of these children. That's all. Thank you. Please subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.